welcome everyone to this. I think it's the 10th.
It's the ninth.
Ninth chapter of the Body Whispering book, Being in the Question. And thank you for being willing to move it one day forward. I literally had no voice yesterday. And then I asked some questions. Today I have a voice. So thank you, Simone, for moving it.
Well, you actually have quite a sexy voice, Katarina.
I know.
Maybe today's the day that you start doing some different recordings. I'm just saying.
Oh, I actually like that idea. Maybe this is the day when I do that. Hello. Yeah, exactly. I quite enjoy it. This part, you know, the low, deep one. This chapter, Being in the Question, is actually one of the most instructive chapters because we talk so much about being in the question and access. We talk about it all the time from the very first class you go in. And yet I think it's really one of the things that it takes such a long time to get to. Like I would say, not even yesterday when I had this conversation about being in the question, I realized how much I'm not in the question. It just keeps going, the revelations. So, and Simone, you just read it too, again, I'm guessing. So what was your sense when you read this?
I did. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. I actually read this book when it wasn't published yet. I don't know if you know Dain. I was with Dain, and he was really so excited. He was so excited and so grateful, and he was reading it. So he sent me a Word doc. So I hadn't read it in a while, and of course, me being humanoid, went quickly. I better do my homework and look at this. But it was the one thing that popped for me is exactly what you said, Kat. Is okay. First of all, let's go back a second. I want to say, please go easy on yourself. We weren't taught to be in question. We were taught to have the answer. You know, I know at school, you know, we were always like, what's the answer? What's the answer? What's the answer? And also, if you didn't get the answer the same way the teacher got the answer, you were wrong. So, and it was never, ever about questioning your body and what it desired. It was always about, you know, I mean, I don't know, I grew up with the 5 food groups on that pyramid, you know, and that's what you're supposed to eat, and that's what you're supposed to drink, etc. And then over the years it went flip, and that pyramid flipped. And now I go, you know what? Enter chaos with all of that. And what is your body actually asking for? I was never taught growing up to ask my body, not from school, not from my friends, not from my family. It was, you know, I came from the, what do you call that? Eat all the food on your plate club. Like my mother always used to say to me, there's starving kids in India, which I love it. I've had this conversation with people from India, and they were like, oh, we got told China. And it's like, well, who was China told? Like there's always someone starving in the world that you're supposed to eat everything off your plate. And that's what I was brought up with. It was never about questioning the body. So, and as Kat said, it takes a while. So don't judge what you haven't questioned, but then increase it every single day and give yourself some home play. I mean, there's some great, you know, home play throughout this whole entire book. And that's funny. I just flipped it open to the page 69, ladies and gentlemen, 69. And it says letting go of judgment. And that's so true. It's about letting go of judgment and actually being in question. I've been using Access Consciousness tools for 21 years, and I have done conclusion better than most, honestly, better than most. And it's been a continuous choice to come out of conclusion, because somewhere, so here's what I want to ask you guys. Will you destroy and uncreate everywhere that you've decided that conclusion is actually going to give you information and create clarity for you so that you can make a greater choice? This is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves every day. And everything at that is times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all 9 shorts, boys and beyonds. Question will always show you something different.
You know, one of the things that this particular part that you're hitting on is such a key thing, because what I realized when I read this is that I even think it's my job to give the answer. That's what I was brought up. Like it was my job to give the right answer. And that's also how I would be merely liked. You know, my big thing is to be liked. So it's even like, if I couldn't give people the answer, then I didn't do my job right to be liked. So even like there's this part here that I love that he wrote. So if there's one thing that has trapped more healers than any other, this is it: giving our clients our interpretation of what's going on with them, rather than asking questions so they can come to their own awareness about what's going on with them. Because when you give answers, and especially if those answers make your client's life greater, you become the source of their greatness, which we all kind of, you know, like it's like the seductive trap of giving the answers, and then they will come to us for more. Like we become the addiction for the right answer. And this is where access is so different, because that is not what access is about. It's about empowering them to get to their own answers. And yet we all tend to fall in this trap. Like people ask us for answers and we want to so badly provide them to them. So I love this chapter that way, because it actually hits on that exact thing, like the trap of wanting to give.
What I would say is, it's not about people getting their own answers. It's about people having their own awareness, and that awareness is in 10-second increments. Because there's moments that, I mean, okay, here's a classic example. And 10-second increments is one of my favorite tools. And today, like quite often when I wake up, I'm like Kat, I get really creative in the mornings, and I'm like, I'm going a million miles an hour. But then I'm also going a million miles an hour and perceiving the future and going, oh, this. And then what I tend to do is go, okay, it's like calm down. And if I choose in 10-second increments, then what am I going to choose right now? Like whether it's the movement of my body, what's going on with my body, like eating, drinking, all that sort of thing, or even what projects, everything. It's like, you know, where can I engage the most to create a greater possibility right now? And today, I had a session with my personal trainer at the gym, and it usually goes really well. You know, like it's fun. I hate him and love him at the same time, and it's great. And it's 45 minutes, and we were like 25 minutes in it, and I looked at him and I went, I'm not well. And I was like, something's going on. And I went, I can't do this anymore. And he was so sweet. And he goes, okay, what do you need? And I went, I need to sit down and I need water. And then I started shaking. And you know, when you get all those like stars, like a cartoon, like spinning around. And I started to have all of that. And then he goes, do you want a banana? And here's what I would like you guys all to look at is that yes, no universe.
Yeah.
Because my first thing was to go, no, I'm fine. Like, I'm in the middle of the gym. Everyone's working out and pumping weights and that. And I'm like going, whoa, you know, and I said, no, I'm fine. And he went, are you sure your body doesn't require something? And he actually asked me a question, and I looked at him and I went, yes. And I went, a banana would be great. And he went and got me a banana, and I ate half of it. But it was like and then the rest of the day, I sort of came home and I didn't conclude something, because so many people go, when they're looking for an answer with something that's going on in their body, they will go to a doctor, a naturopath, a facilitator or something, and look for that answer. But when you have an awareness of what is going on in your body, it's 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then what next? You know, and I came home and I drank a ton of water, because I could tell my body really required water. And I lay on the couch for like 15 minutes, and then I went, I'm good. But I was like 10-second increments. Now what's going on with my body? Not to conclude it. Like you yesterday, of going, you know, you quote unquote couldn't talk, it's like sick, etc. But don't conclude what is going on. Always be in question. And like you said, so I know I'm like boom, boom, boom all over here. But when you were saying about being a therapist or being a practitioner or a facilitator, and people coming to you and you desiring to give them, you know, the information that is going to be like, whoa, you know, they've got everything that they desire. So you become the source. My question would be, and this is you getting really vulnerable, because it also mentions in the book after that about proving.
Yeah.
What are you trying to prove with that choice? And in 2020, I tend to be really OCD about tools, and I give myself a tool and I just work it and work it and work it and work it like a good song. You know, when you play a good song and you just play it and play it and play it, and play it. I'm like that with tools over and over again. And one of the tools I gave myself was, what am I trying to prove by sharing this, or what am I trying to prove by talking about this or choosing this? So if you have a look at at every single time you choose something, like with your body, with another body, and ask, what am I trying to prove with by sharing this, or what am I trying to prove by choosing this? I would say by sharing this, if you're working with somebody else, especially as well, because when you empower another being and another body to have the awareness on their own, that is one of the greatest gifts that you can be for another body and another being. It's got nothing to do with you. And if you can get over that place of trying to prove your worth, you'll actually end up being a huge worth.
Yeah. It's so, that whole part about the proving, and we even do it with ourselves. So one of the ways I got out of being sick, even though I still have this nice voice, was I was talking to Dain and I was asking about what was going on. And one of the things I realized is I had spent Christmas Eve with my family and it had been fun. But then supposedly I was supposed to spend 2 more days with them. And I didn't really desire that. So I got sick, to get out of it. But then I wasn't willing to lie. So then I had to get really sick because I have to prove to myself that I was actually sick, not to lie to them about being sick, right? And this is where I took like a shifting, chaotic possibility that was there where, I could be a little sniffly, didn't have to see my family, thank you, body. And then I solidified it into something that I now had to make real. And it was so interesting. Once I realized that what was going on, I could actually start letting it go and it started shifting straight away. And one of the clearings that we run was, how sick do you have to pretend to be in order to pretend to be normal? So everywhere any of you have that going on, would you please uncreate and destroy that? Right, or I'm good at that.
Shorts, boys and beyonds. I can be your popotter.
Thank you. It's a really amazing clearing, actually. And again, look at it, kind of puts you in question twice, because how sick do you have to pretend to be in order to pretend to be normal? So notice, like, you pretend to be sick to pretend to be normal. So everything that is, can we uncreate and destroy it?
Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now, I want to add something here, because a long time ago, Gary said to me with my family, he said, you need to be pathetic sometimes, Simone. So what I learned was, when I showed up at their house, if I was like, oh, I'm so tired, I've been so busy, I'm not feeling that great, and I pretended to be tired and sick, they'd go, oh, Simone, and they would not hound me about anything, and I could get out of there quicker, right? But here's the piece that I think a lot of people struggle with is, are you willing to lie? And are you willing to not have to be right? Because I was like, no, I should be able to walk in and be all of me, and they should just be able to, accept me for who I am and my difference. And that they don't. My dad did. And it's like, some members of my family, but my mother definitely doesn't. So she doesn't. So stop expecting her to see me, to see me, actually. So then when I got over my point of view about not having to be right and go, well, why can't they see me? And then I went, this is way easier because I can be in and out within an hour rather than having to stay there all day. I went, this works for me, but you've also got to be willing to lie.
Yeah.
So everywhere that you are not willing to manipulate and lie, so that you don't actually have to choose sickness, you can just literally pretend to be sick, where you destroy and uncreate it.
Right, and I'm going about popcorn and choice, boys and beyonds. you know, it's funny, like when you talk about manipulation and the willingness to lie, that also is connected to the willingness to be in the question and be chaos and be the 10-second increments that you talk about. I'm not entirely, yeah. Would you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, it's like, what is required for this very moment? Like someone just said in the chat too, that, you know, they only meet once a year and they would feel so bad for not being present with them. I didn't say I wasn't being present with them. I'm being totally present, but I'm not doing what they expect me to do. I'm being what I need to be, which is being in question. What do I need to be right now in order to give me what I desire? Okay. And when you get to choose for you, I know that's a lot to sort of digest, but when you actually get to choose for you, you also show others that they can choose for them. I mean, it's funny we're talking about family at the moment, but it is that time of year. Oh, and by the way, it's like, I mean, it's now the 29th of December in Australia. And I think this time of year is crazier than Christmas, like that new year where people start to go, they start to judge what they've, especially with bodies, what they haven't done, what they thought they were going to choose, like all that. And then they start to put these expectations and projections upon themselves and their bodies that are like, it's like a torture center. It's like your body's not asking to be tortured. It's like, okay, if you want to change something, change something. But I mean, one of the things I asked for in the last 2 years was, I used to ask to lose weight all the time. Like that was my main thing, that I would be like, oh, I want to lose weight, you know. Laura's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then it's funny, when I gave up that point of view, I started to lose weight, and because the judgment like diminished. And now what I ask for all the time is strength and flexibility. And it's like, it's two things that I'm constantly going, okay, so to be stronger and to have that flexibility. Because there was one day, it was probably about 6 or 8 months ago, I got off the couch and I did that. You know, when you get up, an old person goes, oh, and does that noise when they get off the couch. And I went, God damn, Simone, you sound like an old person. And I'm not saying old person at a certain age. Like you can be 20, 40, 90, right? And it's the mentality you have. But I was like, oh, I would like to ask for more flexibility and more strength in my body. And that's what I've been asking for. And that's what, but being in question about it, not this conclusion of this is what it has to be.
And I think also that is because the weight thing is not really a question. That's like a judgment that, you know, like, I want to lose weight because I need to, like I have to. While the strengths and flexibility, because I recognize it so much. I've been asking for strength like for a whole year, and I am much stronger. Similar thing, like I want to be able to like jump up from chair, like all the things that now I notice other people do. I'm like, oh yeah, like that like the easiness of, and really strength. How wonderful is it to be strong? It's so awesome. So that particular, but that has so much more, because I haven't decided what that looks like. I haven't decided how that would come about. I'm just like, I like to be stronger, and lots of different things have shown up. Well, when I was asking to lose weight, that was not a question. That was like a total judgment that I masqueraded as a question.
Well, then it also links with then people will like me. And it's like, seriously?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Where does that come from? You know? And it's like, if I have the perfect image, then people will like me, or blah, 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 whatever that insanity is. So all the insane points of view you have with your body, that there is absolutely no question in it, only conclusion, that continuously creates limitations. Will you please destroy and uncreate it?
Right, wrong, good and bad, Papa, call 9 shorts, boys and beyonds.
Which is chaos. And that's one of the things that Dain mentions in this chapter as well, is like that being in question is being in chaos. Being in question is being consciousness with and as your body. It's like, I mean, if you put your hands on your body somewhere and ask, okay, so body, it's like, you know, what shape and size would you like to be? What capacity of strength would you like to be? I mean, I even noticed like my trainer, you know, and I only see him once a week and do Pilates. I do many different movements with my body. I go through different phases. I don't have this set thing, but asking my body, and he'll go, oh, you can lift heavier weights than that, because I am quite strong. But my body's like, and I'm like, yeah, that's great. Like, he's this young Brazilian guy that, you know, and I'm like, dude, it's like, I don't want to lift heavier weights. Like, I know I can, but that's not what my body is asking for. And he's so used to me now, because he goes, does your body want to do this? And I'm like, I don't know, let's give it a shot. My body would tell me, like, as soon as we start, like, if it goes yes or no, or sometimes I'll be like, yeah, I can do more of that or whatever. But I'm constantly in question with my body as I'm moving it. Like today, like I could have kept going, and I'm not sure what would have happened, but I knew that my body wasn't happy with these, you know, cartoon stars springing around my head. It was like, okay, I need to choose something different right now. And that's where the 10-second increments comes in as well. Because if you're willing to choose in 10-second increments, you'll get, like, you know, I started off this session really great and strong. And he was like, God, you've been working out over Christmas, haven't you? And I was like, yeah, I've been running a lot. And so my fitness level is increasing. And then 25 minutes in, you're like, oh, it's like, okay, so my body is done. And that's 10-second increments, right? 10-second increments is not, oh, I'm going to go work out for an hour. I'm going to go do this, or I'm going to eat this meal. I'm going to drink this glass of wine. 10-second increments is pouring the glass of wine, taking a sip, and then acknowledging if your body goes, oh, we're done. We only wanted a sip. And you go, seriously? We're going to pour this down the sink? Yeah. Right. Or put it in the fridge for later. It's like 10-second increments is going to the gym, and then maybe you stretch, and then your body goes, we're done. That's all we decide to do. Or you stay longer, or you go for a walk and you end up running, or you say you're going for a run and you end up walking. Like that, my body chooses that all the time. I always go, I'm going for a walk / jog run, because I'm in this 10 seconds, I'm walking, but who knows what's going to show up. It's like, I like following the energy with it. And that's what so much of this is being in question with your body. And can I tell you, the happiness quota, the fun factor, just like is like a rocket ship. It gets better and better and greater and greater and greater. I mean, God damn it, I wish I was using these tools when I was much younger. Like really, like it just gets greater and greater.
And I think it's this thing of the 10-second increments is such a key thing, because even when so say you are sick and you get a COVID like diagnosis, even that's an answer, right? That you're sorry, to get an answer, right? And then you solidify that into something that you can't change. What if you kept being willing to be the question continuously, even with a diagnosis? Like, what if there was a way where nothing ever was set in stone? What if you didn't have to solidify anything at all? What would that be like? And what would your body be able to be like if you function from that chaotic instead of the solidification of the answer into conclusion that you then like actualize into your body? So that,
well, someone mentioned here about you know, and then you get judgment of being frivolous, and yes, and what if that's okay? It's like, I mean, I've been judged my entire life. You can't make up your mind. Yeah. I'm like, no. Well, what if making up your mind is creating the limitation, the conclusions? And I just kept choosing and choosing and choosing as I was growing up. Then I found access, and it was like, whew, actually permission to change my mind all the time, you know? Yeah. And so what if you gave yourself that permission to be frivolous, no matter who is projecting anything at you? And here's the thing, it's like you make other people uncomfortable when you start to choose like that, because they can no longer box you. They can't fit you into a category, you know? So what if you were willing to be frivolous and not being able to make up your mind and change jobs and change, you know, order something and then be like, oh, you know what? I actually don't desire this. Or how often do you sit down at a restaurant and your friend orders something and they get it and you go, damn, I think that's what I wanted. Ask, hey, do you want to swap? It's like, or can I have some of yours or whatever? It's like, you know,
order exactly what they order. It's like the willingness to be that frivolous to like order another dish because that's what you really wanted.
Yeah. And then they go, oh my God, is something wrong with this, ma'am? And you're like, no, I'm just like, my body doesn't want this. It wants this. Hey, can I tell you, there was a years and years ago, I went to a restaurant in Brisbane, Australia with Gary Douglas, and who I think everyone's, anyway, he's the founder of Access Consciousness too. I know that not everyone on here may have done Access. And there was a book that he wrote called, what is it called? Magic, You Are It, Be It, right? And we walk into this restaurant and this waiter, we sit down and this waiter goes, "Are you Gary Douglas?" And Gary goes, "Yes." And he goes, "I've read your book, Magic, You Are It, Be It." And we were like, okay, cool. We had a little chat and everything. And then we got the menus and we went to order and Gary orders. And then the guy looks at me and I went, "Oh, hang on a second." I went, "1 second." And I was looking at the menu and he looked at me and went, he goes, "Are you asking your body what it wants?" And I said, "Yeah, I am." And he was like, "Oh," he goes, "That's amazing." He goes, "Imagine if every person in the restaurant actually asked their body what it wanted to eat." And I was like, yeah. I mean, you might walk in and order dessert. It's like, be in question.
And, it's funny with another part of question is, so a question that we often talk about in Access is, what's right about this that I'm not getting? And for me, that question has become clearer and clearer because it's not going to give you, it's like the question of being chaos indefinitely. You may not realize what was right about something that occurred until months or years later. And I had this amazing feedback on this over Christmas. In the summer, my daughter came home. She's been on antidepressants for a while, and she came home. She was super drunk because everything had the antidepressant had interlocked with the alcohol, and she didn't know where she was. It was like one of those things, and I was like, and I kept asking what's right about this, and I'm not getting it months ago. And then we were on the train home from Christmas, and I was asking her about something with her medicines. She's over 18. She handles that herself. She says, "Mom, actually, I haven't been eating those for months." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, no, that time in the summer when that occurred, it really made me look at what it did to my brain. And a few weeks later, I just stopped. And then I just never told anyone. And I'm like, "Okay, you were probably supposed to pull them down slowly and all of that." She's like, "Yeah, I know, but I didn't have any problems with it." So I just, and I'm like, wow, well, that question, what's right about this that I'm not getting, that had been there swaying around, just not going anywhere. And there's suddenly the universe, what was right with it? It gave her the awareness she required to choose something different for herself. How does it get any better than that? And where I could have gone, this is the most wrong thing, this is horrible, she could have, all of that. So that's also that willingness to be in the question and not having to find the answer, but just allowing things to shift and change.
As well. Yeah. Like everybody is going to have something different with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. And trusting, I think that part of the question is also trusting the universe. If you continuously need an answer, that's that you're trying to control everything. So you need the answer to be able to control the outcome continuously. If you trust the universe and you trust consciousness, you can also trust, something about this is right that I'm not getting yet. And, I'll just trust that and I'll be with it without knowing exactly what it is cognitively.
I love that you said the need part. It's like, so what if you decided you need an answer for?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Times a gazillion where you destroy and uncreate it. Right.
Wow.
On good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds.
It's nearly like it goes to desperate needs sometimes, when something hurts in your body or something is then you're getting, that's when we have pain. For me, it's often when I forget that I have tools and I'm like, "No, it hurts. Tell me what's wrong so I can fix it." It's like the thing that really takes me out of any kind of question is pain. So that, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say, let's talk about that for a second, because how many times when you do have a pain in your body, it's like, people go to, this is bad, this is terrible, this is, you know, whatever, and you go to the less than of what you've just lost, rather than, you know, as Kat's indicating, it's like, what if you asked, okay, what am I gaining here? Like, what awareness am I gaining here? And there was a while ago, I hurt myself at Pilates, and I was talking to Gary Douglas, and I was talking to him about it, and then I went, oh, but it was, and he said, don't you tell me it was fun, because that's something that I would say a lot. And I went, but it was fun. And he goes, you need to stop doing whatever it is you're doing with your body the second you think it's fun, right? And I got off the phone and I was so pissed off, because I was like, well, what am I choosing anything for then if it's not fun, you know? But me being me, after 21 years, you know, it's a good thing I'm cute, because sometimes I'm not very smart. I started to look at what he was saying, and I went, oh, the second that I go to, oh, this is so much fun, is I stop asking my body, I stop being in question. And like this moment at Pilates, I was doing this certain move, which was quite full on. And then my Pilates instructor said, do you want to do more? And I went, yeah, I'm just going to do 2 more because it's so much fun. But my body was like, we're done. Don't do any more. So now I've really been noticing that, like, because I'll do that when I'm running as well. I'll be like, oh, it's so much fun. But my body goes, no, we're done. And I'm like, but we could go. And it's like this, like, you know, this argument that you have. So everywhere that you're trying to argue with your body to prove that you know what is more fun for your body than what your body is actually asking you to choose as fun and joy and ease with your body, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POC, and shorts, boys and beyonds. So it's a cool tool. I've been using it a lot because, you know, and what movement does your body enjoy today? Like again, I'm being really fickle and frivolous because I don't stick to anything. I stick to a couple of things and that's it. Like Pilates is probably something that I do a lot. I might run for months and then 6 months will go by and I won't run at all. It's like, or, you know, martial arts is something that I like a lot. Little key factor. I was telling someone the other day, I actually got second in New South Wales many years ago for fighting with karate, with Shotokan karate. So I actually really like martial arts. It's like, it's always like, I like watching movies of it. I've always liked the way you get to move your body and it's not just like, you know, Bruce Lee's 1-inch punch. It's like, that's amazing. If you look at what that whole concept, because it's not just his hand, it's not just his arm, it's his whole body that engages in that. So
it's like a magical body. It's like
totally
beautiful.
But it's the to me, martial arts is like, because you don't know just a kick, it's like it's everything. It involves absolutely everything. So what movement is your body asking for? That it might be really different. Like when I was in hotel quarantine, I was like, okay, got to move my body. I actually ended up hiring a treadmill, which was really cool. And then I did a Zumba lesson online, and I did some Moringa dancing online, and it was really cool. I educated myself and learned a whole bunch of things besides doing some stuff that I already knew. But what if you got to like be in question with your body and explore what it would like to choose, and choose that? Like if you keep getting this hit, choose it. Because your body is going, hey, can we have a go at this? Can we have a go at this? Like sometimes I'll hike all the time and then I won't go hiking. And you know, it's like, what movement would your body like? What is it asking for that you haven't been willing to gift it? That if you did gift it, you'd have so much fun, more like beyond this reality. And everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it.
Right and wrong, good and bad, popcorn and shorts, boys and beyonds. And that question actually does work with pain too. So if you were willing to ask that, what is your body asking for it that you haven't been willing to gift it? Like where we started about the pain part. And
then I went sliding over here.
I don't
but I'll do that.
sliding. That's part of the chaos. But there was a question about the pain that so who or what are you making right or wrong with your pain? It's this like, if you're willing to actually ask these questions, what difference would that make? So I think that maybe need to make things right or wrong. It's the same as, you know, when you think something is fun, now you have to make that right or wrong as well. It's like that particular right or wrong goes back into the whole conclusion thing with our bodies and the lack of question again. It's kind of a practice. Maria, do you want to ask something?
Yeah, I would like to very much. Do you hear me?
Yes.
And
you're very snowy. I love it.
Yeah, look.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, came a lot of snow yesterday. Well, yeah, so
Where are you?
yeah, I'm in
Where
Sweden.
are you? Oh,
Sweden.
nice. You know, I got in trouble once for going to Sweden, and the snow was apparently gone, like the season was over, but I arrived and I was like, no, snow. And overnight it started snowing again. Everyone's like, and I'm like, snow.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh, wow. Yeah, thank you so much for this conversation. That's wow, it's such a contribution. And I want to ask you about this. Like, also, I recognize this with sometimes I'm really good at asking questions and with my body, and sometimes I really go into this like, no, this should not happen. This should not be. Like, for me, it's lately some, and also ties into this. You talk about family and how you create. I'm creating some really weird stuff with my neighbors and the situation, and I'm very, for years, like sensitive to like sounds or flickering lights or things like that, and now I've been very disturbed by some decorations they put outside that really shuts my body down to the point where it's difficult for me to walk from one room to another in my apartment in the evenings. So I'm like, okay, so what can I ask about that?
So what is your body asking for? Like, what would create more ease? Like, is it obviously Christmas lights that they've got?
Yeah, that's, well, not really Christmas, but it's just some decoration. I mean, it's very dark here in the already from like 3:30 in the afternoon, so they put them out to just have some lights outside. So
is there anything that you could put up so that you don't see them? Or ask your body, it's like, what would create more ease for you with this? Because the other thing too is it your point of view?
It's like, is it yours or your body?
Was it yours or your body's or somebody else's?
Mm.
Like, did you grow up with somebody who had that point of view about lights, or?
It's been for maybe like 10-15 years or something.
Okay, but is it yours? That.
No, it's not mine.
Okay, so everywhere that you are buying it as yours and taking it on as yours, will you now destroy and uncreate it? See, this is 10-second increments. Even if it's been 10-15 years, it's like, let's go. Having it that times a good setting and right and good and bad, pock and parona in shorts, boys and beyonds.
And
do you guys perceive that energy right now where it's like there's stuff like that's unraveling from her body and from the bodies, and it's like we can talk, but energetically there is so much stuff that we change by our very choices and literally just by being in question. When you ask a question, and it changes everything if you allow it.
And also this, like when Simone asked that question, and this is in so many, I think, access classes, I notice it more than ever, is if somebody has the need, and I'm not saying you have that, Maria, to kind of defend the fact that they have a problem or hold on to the problem to be right in having a problem, it will start shifting, and then it will like solidify itself and recreate itself. So we have an enormous amount of power with our point of view. So this is also where that willingness to be in the question of actually, is it mine or not? Like the really willingness to be in that question allows the chaos that allows it to shift and change.
Yeah, I see myself going back and forward between like really being the questions and asking, is this mine, and running clearings and like, what's right about this I'm not getting, and then going into the despair of it can't be like this, and it's going to go on for 3 months, and you know, I will be paralyzed in my apartment till spring, and then it's like this. Sometimes I really lose, what is that, really lose the willingness even to ask. But then I've been clearing lots of demons, because that's been lots of that going on. But it's like now I've been intensely doing this for like maybe 3 days, and it's still like a lot there. So it's like, what else, what more?
What other question could you ask, and what other question could you be? Because notice how, like, right at the beginning when I said we weren't taught to ask questions, we were taught to have the answer. So you're asking questions. And one of the things, Dain, one of the aspects that Dain refers to in the book, which we talk about in Access all the time, is you're an infinite being, not a finite being, right? So you're being an infinite being, you're asking these questions, you're choosing, and then somewhere we go to this insanity of like, well, that's not showing up the way I thought it should show up. It's not changing the way I thought it should change. It's not happening as quick as what I thought it should quick. They're all conclusions, right? They're all limitations. So then we start to go, okay, so I'm not going to be able to do this. It's going to be 3 months. I'm going to be paralyzed. And then you just lump on top of each other, all the conclusions and all the limitations that you have decided. It's almost like we make that easier, but in truth, waking up each day, like what if you woke up each day, put your hands on your body somewhere and ask, okay, what would it take for today to be greater than yesterday? And when those lights come on, literally be like, put your hands on your body somewhere and go, okay, body, so what would we have to dissipate with this? What would we have to choose? What would we have to change? What action could we take here to actualize something different? And here's the thing, it may not show up straight away. Like, and you might get this vision, like you go get a glass of water. So you drink a glass of water. Okay, next 10 seconds, next 10 seconds. Because when you start to focus on something that you've decided is not working for you, you're just going to, you know, exponentialize the not working for you, rather than what if instead, which is the finite being, what if instead you stepped into infinite being and exponentialized the question and the ease, joy, and glory of it. Like, okay, how much fun can we have with this body?
And then you can expand your reach. So maybe you'll just break their lamps. I mean, really, there's a lot of things that could occur that could be helpful that you don't know. I don't mean go there and break them.
I was going to say, I'm doing this visual now of Maria going out there with a baseball bat or something going, see, cat, look, I broke the lamps.
I literally like felt such rage that I, you know, have been very close to like throwing them through her windows or something, you know.
Well, so everywhere you're trying to stop, like you're also keeping that rage inside of you. Like, you know, what like Simone is saying, what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, and possibilities could you and your body be with this that would allow you to have ease and joy.
That is times a gazillion, right, wrong, good and bad, pock and pot, all nine shorts, boys, millions. And it's like, what is the energy behind all that? This is what I love about Access tools. It's play with it. Play with being in the question. Like, not this Christmas, last Christmas, my neighbor was being such an asshole, like just anything. He was like yelling at my gardener, and it was just weird. And I went, what am I going to choose here? Because I would breathe and it was like wrong. So I went and bought this really expensive champagne, and I gave him this champagne for Christmas, and he had no idea what to do with it. It was like, talk about instilling chaos in this man's life. He's actually moved out now and he's renting his place, and there's much nicer neighbors now. But it's like, I knew that I couldn't fight this. So I was like, okay, how do I dissipate this? Like, what would it take to dissipate this energy? So, and I was like, champagne will dissipate it.
No, really, I love that, this chaotic and just in 10 seconds increments, and really like being like one thing and then seeing what next. And that's really light. And there was one thing you said a little while ago that was also really hit me, like this because I am really light and in the question a lot, and then I go into that finite being and like giving up. And what you said, like it's almost like that is easier, and that was like, damn, yeah, that's the point of view I go into. Like, okay, now I've been like, you know, bringing myself out of this shit and using the tools and being sort of like yeah, asking questions and moving forward, taking one more step so long that I don't have the energy, and now it's easier to actually just collapse. That's very I hadn't seen it like that.
Well, you want to have a look at, do you want to create ease or easier? Because I mean, if you look at something like money is a really obvious thing. A lot of people will choose no money because they've decided that it's easier than actually the ease of having money. Now, I know that that's a total head spin, but that's what people choose. And it's like they'll choose unhappy because everybody else is choosing unhappy rather than the ease of happy. Like the ease, joy, and glory is, I mean, all of life comes to us with ease, joy, and glory, will literally change everything for you. And yet that's not what we've been taught. That's not what we've been empowered with. And, you know, here with Access Consciousness and, you know, Dain's amazing book and many books and everything is being in question will create something greater. But it's almost like too easy.
Yeah.
But what if we did have that? What if all of life did come to us with ease, joy, and glory, the good, the bad, and the ugly?
And it's nearly like you could run, how heavy do I have to pretend to be in order to pretend to be normal? Everything that you create and destroy it.
Damn, yeah. Wow.
So don't use that one since it made you laugh. That's a bad one for you. Don't do it. Don't use it.
Wow. Goodness. Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
And ask those beautiful trees and everything behind you to contribute. Like, are you guys, you and your bodies, it's like, will you now start exponentializing your receiving from the earth? What energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, power, and potency can you and your bodies be that would allow you to exponentialize your receiving from and with the earth with ease, joy, and glory? And everything that is times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys, and beyond. Because it so desires to contribute to you. Like Kat said, you know, lightning might strike. Those lights go out. Maybe your body has a way of dissipating it, you know.
Yeah.
But being in question is such a key element to consciousness with your body, with everything.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
The trees are beautiful.
Yeah, right. It's amazing here. And the whole lake. The lake out there. They're skiing on the lake there. I don't know if you see that.
I can. Yeah. Beautiful.
Thank
you. I've got the air on and the fan at the moment. And it's 7:45 at night. It's like it's hot and humid. Hey, someone's just asking, I'll just run that process one more time, then we can go to the next question. So what energy, space, consciousness, choice, magic, miracles, mysteries, possibilities, power, and potency can you and your bodies be that would allow you to exponentialize receiving with and as and from, I'll add, the earth with ease, joy, and glory, and everything that is times a godzillion, we destroy and uncreate it. Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all names, shorts, boys, and beyonds. So do we want to go to the next question?
Yeah, let's go to Smita. I was reading a question in the thread, but let's do Smita first.
Yeah, hi.
Oh, hi.
You can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah. I'm always around, and the people around me are always, gaslighting or doing something. And then, I am always in that kind of situation, mostly. And then I see one thing very constantly, that my body gets into the freeze mode after a while, even if I'm part of it or I'm not part of it.
Your body
So my
gets
body is
into the
freezing literally.
If
freezing.
Yeah.
Did you say
Okay.
freezing like cold?
Yeah, so I don't really want to move my body. You know, if I'm sitting, I'll just keep sitting. After a very long time, I realize that I just don't want to move my body. It's like, you know, somebody's yeah kept you in a deep freeze and it remains in that that state.
Okay. So what's your question?
Do you mean that you're cold, or do you mean like your body freezes?
No, I'm not
like-
cold, but I don't really want to. If I'm sitting like this, I will sit like this, and I don't want to move my body at all.
You mean like you freeze?
Yeah,
Okay,
see,
so what's
exactly,
the
not
question
exactly
now?
this, but I'm sitting, then I just don't want to move because I don't know. I mean, it impacts me so much. If other people around me also are doing it, my body is reacting in this way that I am just sitting like this, and I don't even want to move my neck like this or this. It's that.
Okay, that's great. Do you have a question?
This
Being
is my
in question.
like,
Number 9, being in question. What's your question?
I asked a question yesterday after I realized it. My question is like, what awareness are you giving me, which I'm not able to recognize, understand? But like, obviously, I'm not going to get any kind of answer, but I'm just doing it consistently.
Well, it's not obviously you're not going to get an answer. And that's a great, one of the tools that Gary gave me years ago was to ask my body when something is going on and go, hey, body, thank you so much. You know, you are so amazing. It's like, touch your body somewhere. You're like, I'm so sorry I'm not as smart as you. What is it that you are, you know, what awareness are you gifting me with this? Is there another way that you could show me?
Okay. Okay.
So
I love that. And that goes very much to the person, it's a Chinese name, and you wrote, my leg was injured before and has recovered. One day almost had a car accident, and all your question, and then you're asking, I was a little confused. What was my body telling me? So the thing is, Simone and I can't really tell you what your body was telling you. You can ask your body, and Simone just gave you that great tool, like, what were you telling me? Like, what were you telling me? And I'm sorry, I'm not that smart. I love that, Simone. I'm going to do that. I'm sorry, body.
Gary told me that you go, because it's true. We try and override our bodies all the time. And I mean, even when you said, Smita, obviously I'm not going to get an answer, but it's like, you've already determined that your body is not going to change or is not going to choose something different. Whereas if you just left it at that and went, hey, body, you're amazing. And it's like, I'm so sorry I'm not as smart as you. Is there another way you could show me? And then next 10 seconds, what are you going to choose? Next 10 seconds, what are you going to choose? Like, that is what about being in question is. It's like, relax with your body. It's like, relax with it and ask, okay, so what is this? What next? What else can I choose?
And our bodies are showing us things so much all the time. I had this really funny experience the other day where there were 2 times during the day where something flew towards my eye. Like I was opening a plastic package and like a little plastic thing flew and my eye just closed. And there was something else that came and my eye closed. And I was like, I got so grateful for my body to see those things before I didn't close my eyes. It's just, you know, it's like instinct thing. You close your eyes and nothing hits it. And I was like, thank you, body. Like, thank you for being so amazingly fast and like avoiding to get these things in my eyes. And then I saw you, you know, what are you telling me? And my sense was that it was about the proprioception, that I was being with everything. I was like moving a tiny bit too fast. Like it was like really.
Yeah.
So I was like, took a deep breath. I was like, okay. So what energy, space, and consciousness can I be to have total proprioception with everything around me? And things kind of like calm down. But it wasn't like my body is telling me that by being awesome. It doesn't necessarily have to tell you things by something going wrong or pain. It was showing me twice, like quite quickly after that, I was like making things fly all over that it had to protect itself from. So what is it that your body is telling you may look so different from what you have decided? And everything we you know, we're not willing to really, like where you're saying it obviously won't tell me. Everywhere any of us have done that, I will obviously not understand what my body's saying. I will obviously not get it. Can we uncreate and destroy all of that?
Right,
I
wrong,
don't
good and
know.
bad, corona, and shorts, boys and beyonds.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
You're
and
so
also, what have we already gotten from our bodies that we haven't recognized or acknowledged? So everything that is that we now can exponentialize, can we uncreate and destroy all of that?
right, wrong, good and bad, pock and corona, and shorts, boys and beyonds.
Cool.
There's one tool that it keeps popping into my head, so I'm going to share it with you guys too. And it's when Kat said something about, like, being so fast, because our bodies don't, like, we tend to go, and our bodies can go fast too, but that's not their ultimate desire all the time. Like,
Yeah.
when you actually relax with your body and be in question with it, you will have more awareness. Like I gave that example of movement with your body. It's like you go, I've got to work out for X amount of, minutes or an hour or something, but your body can be done in 10 minutes. And then one of the things years ago, when I was worldwide coordinator of Access Consciousness, and I rang Gary Douglas and I said, hey, I don't think I can do this job anymore. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I said, I've lost my mojo. And he goes, what do you mean you've lost your mojo? And I went, I'm not creative. I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit on the couch and watch TV. Like, I've literally lost my mojo. And he's like, oh, Simone, I've tormented that man over the years. And he said, sometimes your body is aware of what is about to show up in the future, and it's asking you to relax and rest. And I will never forget that, because those moments now when I do just want to, sit somewhere, be somewhere, and not move a lot around or not do a lot of things, it's like I ask my body, what are you aware of about the future? Do we require to rest and relax right now? And it's like, yeah, okay, great. Then choose it. So many times we force our bodies into something rather than being in question with our bodies.
Yeah. That is so true. And I think that it's kind of like sometimes we move so fast that we actually don't hear the whispers of the universe, not just our bodies, but the universe. And it doesn't mean we do less. It's like it's like the softening nearly of the speed. So like you soften the speed and then you can hear the whispers. Josephine, do you have a question? I think we have time for you, and then we're at the top of the hour.
Hi, thank you both so much. My question is that when I listen to stuff, maybe before like a Zoom or like the first half of this Zoom, I was feeling so light and fluffy and comfortable. But then when I heard like who was it with the Christmas lights problem, and then I was like, oh, I don't have that problem. So it's like I kind of make that problem into mine, but then I'm like, with my brain I know it's like, no, that's not mine, that's someone else's, but it's like I can't return it, and then I feel so heavy all of a sudden. And it doesn't just happen one or two times, like it happens all the time when I listen to other people's problems.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Are you an empath?
Yes.
Okay, so what if it's a capacity, and then as you are aware of what is going on for other people and their bodies, it's like you have the awareness of it. Just because you have the awareness of it doesn't mean you have to do anything about it. Then ask, what would it take, body, to dissipate this into the earth? The earth will use any of that energy as a generative energy. Most people don't desire to, like, they've got pain or suffering or something like that. They go, I don't want to give that to the earth. The earth doesn't have a judgment about it. The earth will use it as a generative energy. Okay. So if you are aware, it's like, it's a capacity. So you have this capacity to be aware of other bodies and what is going on for them. It's like, oh, interesting point of view that I have this awareness of their body. It doesn't mean you have to take it on. An empath has the capacity to take it on. You don't have to take it on. That's a choice, but you're going to have to make that choice all the time.
Oh, okay.
And you
I
can't
see.
pocket pot something that's not yours. So if something keeps showing up and you're like pocket potting it, etc., if it's not yours, you can't pocket pot it. So like even put your attention on it and like expand it out, like, you know, bigger than the universe. And if it goes away, like if it's when it starts to lighten up, it's like acknowledge that it's not yours and ask, okay, body, can we not choose this as ours?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's kind of like where the question and the choice meets.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it, Kat.
Yeah.
Yeah. The question and the choice meets. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. And Irene, if your question is really fast, is it?
Like you got to ask really fast like this.
Like, yeah, you have to speak really fast.
Okay, very fast. I just feel my body is a little bit fat. I don't know how to change this situation.
Stop eating. I'm kidding. I remember
I
Gary
didn't even hear the
said-
question.
I
I'm
thought
so
that
glad
was
you heard it,
fabulous.
Simone.
What's that?
I didn't even hear the question. I'm so glad you did.
Did she say, I feel
Okay.
like he's a little bit fat. I don't know how to change this.
Yeah, because my knees can't. My knees are very not comfortable. Yeah, I don't know how to change this.
So, I mean, I'm kidding, but I'm not kidding also. I mean, you know, it's like, you know, what are you, how many people are you eating for? Like who, like, this is where you do really come into question. I remember Gary said it ages ago, stop eating. And I was like, good point. I was like, and, you know, play with the energy of what it is that your body would like. Like there's a lot of things that I've chosen over the years to have the awareness of what's working for my body and what's not working for my body. Like, you know, is your body allergic to something that it's eating? So then it has inflammation. It's like, you know, so what is that? There's a thing, and I'm not saying that you should go do this, but there's a thing called Whole30, which I actually really enjoyed because I was looking at certain things that I wanted to see because I was getting a lot of inflammation, like getting really bloated when I ate certain things, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I did this thing called Whole30, and it cuts out a lot of things like, you know, dairy, sugar, wheat, gluten, everything, basically. It's a lot of eating fresh stuff. So the whole idea is you eat that and then you start to gradually bring in certain things. And it became really obvious to me what my body was really able to digest. And this is all in 10 seconds, right? Because it's like my body has, like dairy for me has changed so much over the years. There's at points I can eat dairy a lot. And there's other points that my body goes, oh, we're done with dairy for a while. And I go, okay, cool. It's like, so again, it's about being in question, but start to have a look at what is your body, like what does your body require and desire in order to change the shape of your body? And also, does your body like being big? Like skinny doesn't necessarily mean it's correct. It's like, look at everybody's, I mean, even look at everyone's bodies on here that you can see, or you walk down the street. It's like, bodies are different.
And going back to the beginning, like you are the one who's going to need to ask the questions about your body. Like it's one of the most common questions we get also in body classes is losing weight. Like it's one thing that comes up so much, and there is no answer that fits everyone. That's why notice how Simone's brain went to like 1 zillion different places of things that could like pop and possibly for you to explore. And you're going to be the one that asks the questions. You know, you can have a facilitator help you ask questions around it, but that particular, there is not a cure against being big because it's not a wrongness. Being big is not a wrongness.
It's not a wrongness. And it's like, and the main thing I would say is come out of judgment of your body. Yeah. And trust me, guys, that's not an easy gig. Like coming at, like most people judge something of their bodies. And if you can, like, you are the only one that can be like, okay, stop. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not choosing this anymore. And I worked on that diligently because how many wake up in the morning and you have this litany of judgment about your body rather than being in question with your body. And I have, for the past couple of years, woken up, and before I even get out of bed, I do put my hands on my body and I start and I go, hey, body. And I'm like, hey, you know, how much fun can we have today? Or, and I asked that question I gave before of what would it take for today to be greater than yesterday? And even just be really present with my body and start the day like that, rather than just jumping out of bed and going to get a coffee and going to do this and going to do that. It's like, be present. It's like, you know, what's going on for you today? And it's like, but it's, you don't even end up asking the questions out loud, because you end up being in the question with your body as you choose in 10-second increments.
Yeah. And I think you disappeared. I forgot your name, the person who was asking.
Irene, she said.
Irene,
Yeah,
thank
thank you very much.
Thank you. Jupiter, I don't think we're going to get to you today. So maybe you can have your question next time. I think we're going to end there today. Simone, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for asking me, and thank you for doing everything you're doing. And Laura, and I know there's a lot of other people behind the scenes as well. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you everyone for coming on. And next time we are actually diving into bringing it all together. It's a huge chapter that me and Claudia Cano will explore together. And it's on the 4th of January at 7 p.m. So hopefully I'll see you all then. Thank you again, Simone. Bye.
Thank you so much.